What's happening, Wolfpack? It's your boy. We're back for another episode of Market Watch Mondays. Vacation just ended. I just finished driving up from San Diego with my girlfriend. What is it, like a 9? We left at 9 a.m. It's now 8:30. So basically 11 and a half hours on the road. But that's not going to stop us from putting out the content that matters to get you that W. So here I am, Sunday night, 8:30 p.m., recording for you, the Wolfpack, the homies, man. We're always out here trying to grind content out for everyone. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. If you don't, drop in the comments, tell me why. I'll be sure to holler back at you. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to cover today. I didn't actually get to watch all the games. Like I said, I was on the road, but I don't think that's as important because I'm going to go into, typical shit on Market Watch Mondays that we always do, go back into the topics and uncover the stuff and the strategy and I guess the thought process that really matters to winning championships. And that's what we're all about. All right. We had a long day on the road. Luckily, had a bit of a break, stopped for a little in and out. Before all you haters start dropping in and out sucks in the comments, blah, 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 blah. I'm just going to say this. Look, I live in California. I've been here for about 5 years. I think that in and out is good for what it is. Like, I don't think it's the greatest thing ever. I don't think it's the best thing ever. And people that kind of tout it that way is probably why it gets a lot of hate. But I think it's a solid value burger for what it is. It gives you quality, a great price. Their burgers are pretty delicious. I like a protein style, keeping it fresh with the lettuce. And then the fries are good if you ask for well done. They got a couple bomb milkshakes over there as well. So look, I think you can get a nice meal for all on $10, right? And that's hard to do today. So for what it is, good value, good burger, not the best in the world, but well above average and definitely great bang for your buck. So that's what I think it is. That's my opinion on In-N-Out. If you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't care. But without further ado, man, before we get into the football content, the shit that you guys came here for, you know what time it is. Hit that intro.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Even though I didn't get to watch all the games, I was still following through Twitter and looking through all of the stuff. So, in customary Market Watch Monday tradition, we're going to give a holler back to our boy, James motherfucking Robinson, the God himself. Man, he went out and had himself a freaking day. I think, I tweeted this earlier on. I think it was yesterday or the day before. The homie, friend of the channel, Ray GQ himself, had he actually put out through a trade. I'm in a couple leagues with Ray. Obviously, you guys know he's a super talented guy on the content side, knows the shit for Devi, knows the shit for college. So it's actually pretty fun being in a league with him. But I saw a trade go through involving Ray that I could not believe because Ray was not the first jump on James Robinson. But if you've been listening to his podcast, Ray, the good thing about Ray is he adopts a Bayesian approach. And what I mean by that is he takes in new information. He is more than willing to take in new information. And when new information presents itself, Ray will be the first one to be jumping all over that. So he actually made a pivot a while back. But what really surprised me with this is he gave up his boy, his homie, his 2021 wide receiver one, Rondell Moore for James Robinson this week. Now, if that doesn't tell you what you need to know, and if that doesn't give you the vote of confidence that you need, I don't know what will. Because look, I'm just a stats nerd guy. I watch a little film here and there just for fun. I don't pretend to know anything about it. But Ray is a very knowledgeable and talented film scout. He played college. He played in college at school. I believe he played DB, but don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. But Ray clearly knows what he's talking about when it comes to film. If you see any of his cut ups, they're A+ stuff. So now that Ray's on board, look, you couldn't get behind me. I'm just the nerd with the spreadsheet. Get behind Ray. And if you can't get behind that, get behind the stats, baby, because let's let it rip, man. James Robinson, 22 carries, 128 yards on the ground, 5.8 yards per carry, and a touchdown. And he got all involved in the freaking passing game, which is what you love to see, too. He had 5 catches for 31 yards. He is a bona fide bell cow. We've been saying this for a long time, but he's proven it in and out. And there's some weeks that Chris Thompson gets in there like that nagging ant that you hate, that nagging ant that's always in your ear. Just sometimes Chris Thompson's like that, but other times like this, when it all comes together, oh my God, is a beautiful thing to watch. So You love to see him getting involved there. He's taking 90, he's like 90% snaps, 85% snaps. He is at worst a workhorse, at best a bell cow. He is unbenchable. I get it. Look, everyone's scared of his playoff schedule. I don't give a damn. If you're getting this type of volume, you're going to my lineup. And if you're this talented, which he is, as I've said for a while now, the best performing rookie running back by far, ahead of CEH, ahead of Jonathan Taylor. He has been outstanding. It doesn't matter. He is like, he has no weaknesses right here other than long speed. We'll give him that. He does not have the breakaway speed that you want to see. But look at where this team is, right? And I want to draw a comparison here because I tweeted about Ezekiel Elliott, and I got a lot of back and forth on the weekend. And I just asked a simple question, right? Is Ezekiel Elliott still elite, or did he take a step back? I'm not saying he's trash, right? I'm not going to jump on that and say that Ezekiel Elliott is bad, even though a lot of the advanced metrics like EPA, forced tackles missed, evaded tackles, yards after contact, everything that you really care about for a running back, he has been average to below average at best. Not just this year, going back a couple years, he's been on that decline. So I simply pose the question: is Ezekiel Elliott elite? And the majority of the responses I got was he is still elite, but his O line sucks, his team sucks, yada yada yada. If he had an O line, look at what he did with Dak, blah blah blah. Like, here's my thing with Ezekiel Elliott, right? I'm still in on him as a fantasy asset, but I don't think he's elite, right? Because I've said for a while that Nick Chubb was better than Ezekiel Elliott. And I said that like way before the season started, maybe even like last season, or maybe in the offseason at some point, and got a lot of hate, a lot of hate. And then in the midseason, I said, look, Alvin Kamara's gonna be the RB1 with CMC out. And they got a lot of hate, about how Ezekiel Elliott is gonna be that guy. And look, Ezekiel Elliott is a volume guy, right? And all running backs depend on volume, but no one more dependent on volume than him, because without volume, he is not startable in your lineup right now, right? That is not elite. We can make all the excuses we want about his O-line getting hurt, about his O-line being bad, about Dak being out. But then on the flip side, look at what James Robinson is doing, man. Like, these guys they got no wide receivers. DJ Chark's out. Laviska was hurt, and he just came back to the first game. They got no quarterback. Gardner Minshew's been out for a while now. They're trotting out freaking. They were trotting out Jake. What's his name? Lutton, whatever his name is. And then now they're trotting out freaking Mike Glennon out there. Like, does he have a great offensive line? No. Does he have positive game script ever? No. Their team freaking stinks. The only time they have positive game script is when James Robinson puts his goddamn team on his back and carries them to a point, only for their team to throw it away at the end anyways. So we talk a lot about situation and the whole like running backs don't matter movement, which I don't fundamentally believe they don't matter. I just believe they matter a lot less than other positions. But like that whole thing is built on running backs not having as big of an impact, right? But if Zeke is truly the elite top 5 guy that everyone's been telling me that he is this whole entire time, and he's still got elite vision, elite contact balance, elite power, all this stuff, it would show up somewhere. And I'm looking around the numbers, man, and I ain't seeing it nowhere. There's not a single metric that I can find that shows Zeke is still elite. And does that mean he's pooped for fantasy? Hell no, man. Because at the end of the day, it's volume. It's a volume-driven game, right? Like, and when Dak comes back and their O-line is healthy, I fully expect Ezekiel to produce at top-end levels, elite levels again. But that does not make him an elite talent. And that was the question I was trying to pose, because of very well-respected film grinders like Matt Waldman and Jay Moyer, who I respect a ton, have come out repeatedly and said, look, Zeke is still elite. It's just a matter of his O-line. It's a matter of his team and all those things. And if I could find any number that could have supported it, look, I'd be all on board, but I have not been able to do so. So to me, Zeke is not elite. Can he be an elite fantasy asset next year again? Absolutely. But is he an elite talent in the NFL? Is he top 5 at the position? No, because I'm seeing people like James Robinson who's been doing it with less. And look, this is a historic season for James Robinson. He is in very, very rarefied air. And I tweeted that out today, and there's still people, non-believers, that think he's going to get replaced and his volume's going to get reduced. And look, that very well might happen, but are you really going to miss out on one of the greatest rookie seasons of all time because you were scared of Dare Ogunbowale, or or I guess early on he got cut, but because you were waiting on Divine Ezigbo to kind of become relevant? Come on, man. Come on, man. Like, Ray's gotten on the train. I've been on this train for a while now. And if you're still missing this train, man, just put on the fucking blindfolds, take that L and move on, because I don't know what to tell you, man. This dude is here to stay. He is a motherfucking god. And I don't think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to punt him. Their GM got fired today because he's been awful, right? And they have so many other holes to fill. They got quarterback. Their defense is absolutely trash. They got O-line problems, defense problems. The last of their worries is running back because James Robinson is getting it done. He is having a historic season, one of the greatest rookie seasons, if not the greatest rookie season by a running back, by an undrafted free agent we have ever seen. And we are witnessing history, and some people are still trying to put the blindfold on. And I don't get it, man. Look, draft capital drones, age drones, take a fucking hike, man. This is not your time. This is James Robinson's time. If you're still not willing to take the L and just change your priors, if those people are still out there, man, just click that unfollow button because I promise you, they're not giving you any content worthy of value. All right, so make sure you follow guys that are willing to admit they're wrong and willing to admit to change. I am frequently wrong. I'm always talking about where I'm wrong and why I'm wrong and trying to reevaluate my life. It's like with Justin Herbert, like with Chase Claypool. Make sure you follow people that actually do the same, because if you don't want to be stuck with take lock, man. Some people care about being right. Some people care about their being right on their takes than they care about giving out winning advice. And that is a huge red flag. You do not want to be any part of it. We want to give out winning advice. That's what we're all about on the channel. And hopefully we're doing that for you. If we're not, just know I'm grinding, and trying to do it for you. All right. So next thing I want to talk about the king, not the King Henry, because he had a baller ass game too. Henry has been balling out of control, and after Thanksgiving is usually when he does the damage. But the other king, the king of the AFC, well, I guess Henry's in the AFC too, but the other king, we'll call him the Prince. All right, we'll call him the Prince. The Prince is back, and that's Austin Eckler. First game back, and he put on a show. He got vultured by Joshua Kelly, the Jag, who is absolutely, how do I put this? Trash, right? I've said he's a Jag the entire time, and that's literally all he is. He does not take anything. He just takes what's given, sometimes less than what's given, and just works with that. He's not going to be the guy that gives you anything that's of value, but he vultured a touchdown. But that's not what we care about, because Austin Eckler had 11 catches on 16 targets for 85 yards. That is the moneymaker. That is why you invest in Austin Eckler. And he is back for the home stretch with Justin Herbert. In 2 games with Justin Herbert now, he has averaged double-digit targets. I think the first game he had maybe 13 targets, something like that. Just check, Google that for me. But I know for a fact that he's had at least double-digit targets for both healthy games with Justin Herbert. So that's going to be really good for his prospects. We know that a target is worth 2.5 times more valuable than a carry in PPR format leagues. So look, it's going to be great. And it's the first game back. So they're trying to ease him back in. He had that major hamstring injury. But if you look at his schedule going forward, home versus Patriots. Patriots aren't stopping nobody. Trust me, I'm a Pats fan. I've been watching. Our defense fucking stinks this year. We're basically in the tank. So we're not stopping nobody. And they got Atlanta Falcons, who are actually pretty decent against the run, but not great against pass catching running backs. They have never been historically. They've been one of the worst, and they still are very, very exposable in that part of the game. And then you got Las Vegas Raiders, also very exposable on the ground. You got the Broncos, who freaking stink. Their defense is awful. If it wasn't for Seattle's defense, Broncos defense would be way up there. I mean, I think they are way up there already, right? And then, so that's the rest of the lineup, man. 13, 14, 15, 16. 3 money matchups in the playoffs, a great matchup leading into the playoffs. This is the home stretch. This is what we all drafted Austin Eckler for. He is going to be there to win you your leagues, right? What can you do about it? You should be acquiring, because the chances are the teams that drafted Austin Eckler or Ross and Austin Eckler are not really in the playoff hunt because he's been hurt all season. But if you're a contender, a true contender, you should be pushing the chips in for someone like Austin Eckler, because he is going to be a difference maker. We talked a lot about Aaron Jones' playoff schedule. We talked a lot about Derrick Henry's playoff schedule. I didn't talk about Austin Eckler's playoff schedule because I wasn't sure when he would return. But now that he's back and we've seen what his usage is, he is going to absolutely be a league winner. So you should be paying out for him. And look, I get it. People are worried, right? He's a 25-year-old running back, going to be 26 next year. Value's going to take a dip. I don't care, because what's going to happen is he's going to have at least 2 to 3 years of top-end production and provide that value for you. All right, Austin Eckler is going to be that guy that you can lean on in the playoffs, especially in PPR formats. I myself have traded for him, even in half PPR. I made two trades for him, both actually in half PPR. One of them I paid Mike Williams a first, which is my first, currently undefeated in that league. So hopefully it's a later first, but who knows? Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, or Mike Williams, a late first, and what is likely the 3.01 in a super flex 12 team half PPR league for Austin Eckler. Is it an overpay? Maybe. I don't care. I'm trying to win the championship. Winning championships, Drake memes, winning trades. Always. That is my motto. You guys know that. Another one, I probably grossly overpaid in this one, but it's the first ever BDG Dynasty League. I paid up Mark Andrews and my first, which could very well be a top 5 first, or it could be a bottom 5 first, depending on how these next 2 weeks go. I'm actually on the fringe of the playoffs because I've lost Joe Mixon, like CMC. I've had so many injuries, and Michael Thomas. Like, it's just been a brutal injury year, but I'm still on the playoff cusp, hoping to make it next week. So I paid, yeah. So maybe I'm going to call it a mid first, Mark Andrews and Darnell Mooney for Austin Eckler. Overpay? Absolutely. Do I care? Absolutely not, because I'm trying to bank on him in the playoffs, especially with Joe Mixon out, with CMC out. All I have is James Robinson, the God, and Austin Eckler. So I'm trying to ride those two to playoffs so that hopefully when CMC comes back, healthy MT, healthy A-Rob, healthy Amari Cooper, my team's actually pretty freaking stacked, and I have TJ Hawkinson. So what can you do to get him? I think you should be paying like more than a first. I think I took a look on most trade calculators, actually. Like, Dynasty Trade Calculator had him at like less than a mid first, which is mind blowing to me. And then I think even like, a lot of the other calculators had him basically valued at a single mid 2021 first. I'm 100% okay with paying more than that, as you've seen. And the reason why is because getting 2 to 3 years of Austin Eckler, which I think you can absolutely do. He was not a workhorse throughout the entire first part of his career. He has his contract, so you have some security over the next 2 to 3 years. He's tied to a top end elite quarterback, young, growing quarterback in Justin Herbert, in an offense that is passing a lot. And they don't have a great defense, so they can't really keep up on that end. So they're definitely going to be scoring a lot, led by Justin Herbert. And Austin Eckler is, by my account, the second best receiver on that team after Keenan Allen. And we kind of seen the splits. I'm a little bit worried about for Keenan Allen, and I brought it up before, but the splits with Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler are not great, but it's a very limited sample so far with Justin Herbert, so I'm not ringing the alarms just yet. So Austin Eckler is absolutely a target you must be going for in contending leagues, and you should be willing to pay up for him. And if you think about it this way, right, Austin Eckler and Alvin Kamara, I'm not going to make the comparison, but I am, because they're both very similar in terms of what they bring in the PPR game. And now with Taysom Hill, Alvin Kamara is not bringing anything in the PPR game. Taysom Hill freaking stinks. And he's not a quarterback, as I've said many times before. He's Tim Tebow. The Denver versus New Orleans Saints game was one of the worst first quarterback performances I've ever seen in my entire life. But Austin Eckler is basically discount Alvin Kamara. I mean, Austin Eckler, by all accounts, has been more efficient than Alvin Kamara. He's been more efficient than Christian McCaffrey as a receiver on very high volume. We know that he had like 100 plus targets last year as well. And I think he's well on pace for that again with Justin Herbert going forward. So looking at him, he is very much a hybrid. And I really hope that they keep Joshua Kelly in that grinder first and second down role. Even though he vultures some goal line work, I don't care, because the high value touches is going to come on the receptions. And Austin Eckler doesn't need to be in between the tackles grinder. I don't want him in there on short yardage. I don't want him in there for inefficient touches. I want him in there for receptions and some goal line work, and to keep him fresh, at that like 10 to 12 carries a game. That is the perfect balance for Austin Eckler. And I think they're going to use him that way. And if they do use him that way, I think he's going to be good for another 2 to 3 years, at least, if not more. If we look at how far Darren Sproles played into his career, I think Austin Eckler can be that, plus way more on the ground. And that's why I'm excited about Austin Eckler. So I think he is a top 10 dynasty running back for the next 2 to 3 years. So if I'm willing to pay, like when I look at an asset like that, a top 10 running back with a top 5 running back ceiling, top 3 running back ceiling in any given year, as he's already shown, that is absolutely worth more than a middling first. Like, I would pay a first and a second. I would pay a first and a piece. I would pay like maybe one of the younger wide receivers. And honestly, this is not going to be a popular opinion, but if I am a true contending team, I would be willing to take a loss on a trade by giving up Austin Eckler for one of these like hyped up rookies, like Austin Eckler for like a CEH. Maybe you get like something on top of Austin Eckler for him, but like I feel like those trades are so easy to do. Like Austin Eckler for like DeAndre Swift for Austin Eckler plus, like Jonathan Taylor for Austin Eckler plus. I think even if I had to do it 1-to-1 and I was a true contender, I really needed it. And I'm talking like top contender, like top 2 to 3. That's a trade that I think I'd be willing to make because you got to be willing to take losses on trades in order to win championships. I think that's the concept that people just like can't really get around because like everyone just wants to win trades. But at sometimes like I'm totally okay taking losses on trades when I'm a absolute peak contender or when I'm a rebuilder when I think I can recoup that value later through rising rookie picks. And that kind of leads into like the last discussion topic I want to cover today is just how to deal with trades. Like how do you guys do trades? People ask me all the time, like, if the league is inactive, what are some things you do to like kickstart trades? Like how are you able to do so many trades? Because I'm always posting my trades on Twitter, right? And honestly, it just comes down to like a trade philosophy. And my trade philosophy is I don't care about winning a trade. Especially in the moment. Like I'm always looking to trade so that I win, 1 year, 2 years down the line. I'm always willing to pay up to do that. So in those types of deals, like there can always be a winner and a winner. And it's pretty cliche to say like win-win trades, but like honestly, I feel like a lot of the trades I do execute are win-win for both me and the partner. And the best way to do it is to find a contender and a rebuilder, right? Though that is the best trade partnership. If you're trying to trade with another contender, it's really, really tough, right? Because you're both trying to do the exact same thing in the year. So if you think about it, like both of your goals are perfectly aligned and you have to worry about competing with each other. So you don't want to help the other team too much, right? So that's like the worst trading dynamic you can have. The best trading dynamic you can have is a rebuilder who doesn't care about this year, doesn't care about points being scored right now. In fact, doesn't want points being scored right now if you have potential points for scoring system for determined draft order versus a contender who wants all the points right now and doesn't care as much about the future because you're trying to capture that win, right? Those are the best scenarios. And that's where I look first. And like I said, you just can't be so focused on winning a trade. Like everyone's always messaging me like, hey, did I win this trade? Did I win this trade? Like my first question usually back is like, well, what does your team look like? How did this benefit your team? Because I'm always willing to lose a trade as long as it helps make my team better and helps me accomplish the goal, whether that's capture value as a rebuilder or, push me towards the playoffs and securing a championship as a contender, right? That's like really what I'm caring about is the goal. And then secondly, people are always trying to win a trade. And like to me, I'm always trying to build long-term trade partnerships within my leagues. Like I'm a volume trader, right? That's how I accrue value over time because I trade in the short term, I trade in the medium term, I trade in the long term. I'm always trading. I'm always turning my rosters over, whether I'm a contender or a rebuilder. In order to do that, you got to have multiple people that are willing to trade with you over time. And if I look back on some of my deals, like I think one of the best pieces of feedback I've ever gotten in one of my leagues was this year when I traded with someone and it turned out that I really won the trade later. But in the time, it was like incredibly fair and it was fair for both of us. And the guy said in the chat, like, look, like I traded with Mike because he's always offering fair trades. And look, he like took me to the cleaners on this trade because it ended up working out a lot better for him. But in the moment, it's always fair. And I think that's what you should really strive for is like find someone that has a different belief than you in those players. You obviously have to feel high. If you both are really high on the same player, you're not going to get a trade done because it's not possible. But if you have diverging beliefs and diverging goals, that is like the best way to do a trade. And two, you got to like make a trade like you're trying to build a bridge and trying to build a long-term sustaining partnership. A lot of people are trying to just go and just ravage someone for a trade and just totally destroy them and fleece them, right? And like that maybe set you up for like the next year or the short term, whatever. But in Dynasty, if you're not able to make trades in the long run continually, you're just not going to be successful. I say it a lot. Like I think the redrafts are won and lost in the draft, but I think dynasties are won and lost in trading. Like I've drafted some terrible teams and turned them around and made them championship contenders just through trading. And that's like the best part of dynasty. I feel like a lot of people approach dynasty trading as if they're like a traveling salesman, right? You sell like to this door and that door closes, you never deal with them again, right? Whereas like in my mind, you should be dealing with dynasty trades as if it was like running a local like corner store, like a local convenience store where you're constantly dealing with repeat customers throughout the lifetime of that store, right? Because everyone that lives close to you, people don't move that frequently, and you basically build relationships and friendships with your local community that come and shop at your store frequently. That's like the mindset that you should have when running a dynasty team. You want people to come trade with you frequently and often. You want them to not be on edge and feel like you're going to rip them off every time you trade them out. You don't want the reaction to be like, oh my God, like one side got totally fleeced, because it's going to destroy that bridge. And especially if you're taking advantage of like new dynasty players that just came in, they're just not going to trust you and not going to trade with you again. And then you're going to be screwed for that league, because you're going to basically be completely reliant upon hitting on rookie picks for the rest of your tenure. And we all know how tough that is. So that is not a place you want to be in. So when looking for trades, one, try and find guys with diverging goals, find someone with diverging views on a player. That's the perfect mix. But always, at least at a bare minimum, try and craft a trade that benefits your team, right? Like that benefits both teams. Like instead of targeting players, which is what most people would really like to do, what I do is I open up my league. I look at the standings. If I'm a contender, I'm looking at the rebuilders. If I'm a rebuilder, I'm looking at the top guys at the top of the team, and I click into their teams and I see what holes I can help them fill. And sometimes there's none, and I just move on, right? And sometimes if there's a player that I really want to trade for and it's on a team that I can't help, I move on because there's nothing I can do to help them. But instead of targeting players, what I look for is holes. Like, hey, look, this guy needs a running back, or this guy needs a quarterback. This guy needs a tight end. This guy is an injured player like Saquon Barkley or George Kittle. They can't use, but they need someone to fill in that gap. And then I'll go in and I'll try and fill that gap for them. And, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But at least if you start from there, you don't limit your trade partners to like the one guy that owns the player that you want. You basically expand your trade construction and where you're starting from to build the trade to actually benefit both teams. And that's really what I try to do in most of the trades. And people ask me, how you get trades done. That's basically it, man. There's no magic sauce really. It's just doing it, that repetition over and over again, and being in a bunch of leagues, right? I'm in like 20 leagues. If it doesn't work in one league, I move to the next. So that's like kind of the benefit of having a bunch of leagues to be in. And don't be afraid to overpay, man. Do not be afraid to overpay, because winning championships, Drake memes, winning trades all the time. All right. So that's all I got for you guys this week. Hopefully you enjoyed. I'm pretty excited coming up, not next week, but the week after. These next couple of weeks are going to be some pretty good content coming your way. I'm probably going to be doing some more rookie and Devy stuff as well. But more importantly, a couple weeks from now, I'm going to have the first guest ever on the channel and the first guest ever on Market Watch Mondays. And it's going to be a great one. So make sure you tune in for that. It's going to be exciting. I'm really excited. I'm going to start prepping for it now because I want the first guest to be just to blow things out of the water. I want the first guest episode to be amazing. And hopefully that is what it is. But we'll see what happens. So make sure you tune in for that. If you guys have other content you want to see, make sure you drop it in below. Most importantly, if you like what you see, if you like the episode, if you enjoyed, make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button down below. It helps us more than you know. Just make sure you tune in, man. We got a lot of video coming your way. Hit that thumbs up, follow me on Twitter, and hit me up, man. Tweet at me. A lot of good stuff coming on. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of good content. A lot of COVID stuff, unfortunately, that we're going to have to deal with. But don't worry, man. I will be here to guide you through the pain because I'm an expert and experienced in pain in fantasy football. So I will be helping you, guide you through that journey, and hopefully add a W to the win column. That's what we're trying to do. That's what being part of the Wolfpack is all about. Hope you enjoyed. See you guys next time.